Welcome back to another episode of Formcast, episode 21 or 20, or I'm losing track. Welcome back. As I'm recording this, I see a giant spider on the wall. I gotta go kill that. I gotta go kill that. I picked up Mrs. Form's slipper and I smacked it and it just exploded on the wall. I got chills. I hate spiders. Welcome back to another episode, though. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for downloading. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episodes or not, but we have officially reached over 150 downloads of the podcast. So thank you so much for that. Talking anything streaming related, life related, all that kind of stuff. And I am looking forward to, in the future, bringing some guests onto the show and maybe getting a bit more opinions, perspectives, and all that kind of stuff included into our episodes. Today, I wanted to talk about sub count for streaming. Sub count, the amount of subscribers one streamer might receive in terms of support from their community. Could be 1, could be 0, could be 1,000, could be tons, hundreds of thousands, whatever. Sub count, and the only reason I want to bring this up is because I've seen a lot of tweets lately about people talking about sub count. I actually saw one this morning of someone saying like, instead of gifting to someone who has 1,000 plus subs and they don't need 500 plus more, those subs should be going to smaller streamers who deserve it and all these things. Obviously something that's super opinionated and a very, I think, closed-minded perspective, given the fact that if I have 1,000 subs, yeah, I kind of need a bit more, and because I do this full time and I support the family with my income. I help with bills. I help with these things. I help with those things. I give back to my community as much as we can, giveaways, all these things. I think from someone that says, who gets maybe 20 subs a month, yeah, 1,000 is a lot. But when you do this full time, 1,000, put that into revenue, take taxes and fees and all that kind of stuff off. At the end of the day, if they use that money to make their living, they will most likely need more than what you consider to be a lot. Perspective, let's say someone like Nick Merckx, right? Warzone streamer, I think has 40,000 subs on Twitch. I don't even know, to be honest, the exact number. End of the day, they make thousands and thousands and thousands each month. If he all of a sudden gets half that, well, it's a big deal, right? But to us and to smaller streamers, those 50,000 subs in a month or whatever, like let's say that's a lot, right? That's crazy amounts. Why does he need 500 from someone random, right? Well, he does. So one thing that I kind of want to focus about sub count is, and this goes back to the episode where I talked about comparison and how comparison is the thief of joy in all life aspects, to be honest, but streaming specifically, because you do compare it to other people and like, oh, how are they getting more subs and I'm stuck at this and their content might not be as good, or I know how much time I put and how much effort and what I've sacrificed to be where I am, and I think I deserve more of this and more of that. And it's perfectly okay to think that way, because I think everyone should just believe that they deserve more and more and more and more support and more attention, especially if you're putting in the work and the quality is there as well. But I think what's important to note is that there is this, I'm going to say, dark side of gifted subs and dark side of just financial support on streams. I can't say that I've ever experienced this personally. I can't say that I've known someone to do this specifically. But, from tweets and from this and from, bigger, more reliable sources, I guess you can say, sharing things. There are things like credit card fraud. It just happened on Kick, apparently. Someone who gifted thousands of subs was doing this by committing credit card fraud. And I believe the streamer was not paid out. I'm not entirely sure. However, it also brings back the fact that some streamers, now take this for however you want, will make deals with people to give subs to their channel. Some people used alt accounts to give subs to their channel. So for example, let's say I wanted to gift myself subs to make it look like I was hyped up and really supported. And what that does is it sort of encourages others, like actual users, to give subs themselves. say a hype train starts on Twitch, and it was started by so and so, so and so, and so and so. There's three things that need to happen, right? 3 subs or 3 100-bit cheers or more by 3 different people. Say I use 2 different accounts and I get 5 subs and I get 5 subs. Yeah, it's a investment for me. It's an expense for me. And then somebody else will give 5 to start a hype train, and then all of a sudden more people do 5 and 1 and this and that and bits and whatever. So that streamer is making money. This is something that I've heard people are doing. So all of these kind of I'm going to say illegitimate ways, kind of like ways to create hype, to bring subs to your channel, increases the number of subs you have, right? So the streamer says, okay, well, I got this now, right? And sometimes it's done certain ways just to bring hype, to bring attention, to bring whatever, more eyeballs to the channel because their sub count is higher. And a lot of small streamers, I think, contribute success to a large sub count. If you have 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 subs, that is a successful streamer. Whereas, to be honest, you could have a 20 average stream and you could have 2-3 people that really appreciate you, really support you, and they have financial means to do so with hundreds of dollars and hundreds of subs and all these things. And you're not necessarily growing. You're not doing. You just have those few people that continuously support you, which is awesome. But I think a lot of small streamers, like I said, are so focused on sub count, meaning success. So I'm seeing all these things, right? First it was Kick with the credit card fraud guy, and then it was someone posted something about how you can get subs from some third world country source for really cheap, like 10 subs is $5 or something like that. So you spend $5 and it creates hype, and you encourage actual human users on your channel to sub as well, which I don't. It's kind of confusing to think about, and kind of far-fetched, to be honest. But it's not something that I don't think people wouldn't do. But the really kind of underground stuff that I've kind of sort of witnessed and sort of heard about would be the stuff that people are, within their community. They're like, hey, if you gift me this many, I'll give you this, or I'll give you that, or, I'll always let you play games if you make sure you give me 100 a month or something like that, because it just brings hype and it supports them financially. And it gives this illusion, I guess illusion is a good word to use, that the person is doing really, really well. So it encourages other people to want to support. And I think that's the main goal for some of these, like I said, funny ways of bringing sub count to their channel. All of this to say, when you look at someone's sub count, try and look at it as a neutral standpoint, an objective viewpoint of good for them. Don't compare yourself to their sub count. It's really hard to do because as a streamer, sub count is one of the things that really supports someone financially. Let's be honest, sub count and bits for a Twitch streamer, for example, are probably going to be anywhere between 70, 80, 85% of their total income. They might have partnerships and other means of income if they're a full-time streamer, let's say. But I'm going to say that's a large portion of their income. So trying to push that and push it is kind of what people end up doing. But I've seen and I've heard all these weird ways of people attracting support to their channel that it makes me think of the smaller streamers, the ones that are just starting out, or the ones that have been doing it for years and they're at 3-5 viewers, and they might get 20 subs a month. And it's their friend that's supporting them and rooting them on, And they look at these people with thousands of subs and they're just like, how do they do it? And how do this and how do that? And then they start racking their brain about, I'm not good enough, and all these negative thoughts that streamers can get and content creators can get when they don't think that their stuff is popping off enough and they're not supported enough, or they're not finding that success, right? Because they look at other people and say well, I'm doing something similar. I have, this and this and that, and then comparison starts, but it's the sub count that really focused on. And sometimes that sub count is just not factual. Yes, the subs have come in. Yes, they are there. Yes, they're making money. But how are the subs happening? Sometimes it's these weird ways. So needless to say, when you end up finding out like, oh, so and so did that to get those subs, makes sense now, right? So all these things, come into play, and at the end of the day, you have to realize that sub count is not success. Sub count can be skewed. Sub count can be influenced in multiple ways. So I encourage a few things. One, if you're going to compare yourself, do it in a positive manner. Feel free to listen to the comparison episode to be found on YouTube. And, compare yourself in terms of like, wow, I'm actually doing really well compared to where I could potentially be or where most people at my time in the industry are. That type of comparison. But don't compare yourself to sub count. Realize that they can be, influenced in multiple ways that are not necessarily I wouldn't say illegitimate or illegal or anything like that, because people are open to do whatever they want. But try and either, ignore that part of someone's stream if it bugs you, or just maybe do your own research as to maybe, maybe something that I shouldn't be comparing to because I know these facts about that, But at the end of the day, the biggest thing to take away from what I'm talking about right now is don't believe that success is sub count. Are they related? Yes. But are they the only thing that describe the word success in this industry? No. So when you really look at it, you have to believe that people will receive subs for the right reasons. Content, connection with people, what they give back, whatever other, explanations there are. But when you start saying to yourself, well, so-and-so is getting like so many subs, and it's just nonstop, and every stream is just like crazy. You have to realize that sometimes some of those things and the stories behind maybe who's gifting and why they're gifting and all these things are not quite what they seem on the surface. So when you find these things out, like I said, it kind of the thoughts of like, why am I not good enough to get that, just disappear, because you realize that there's more to the story, I guess you can say. I was personally told by someone that is a huge financial contributor to not just one person, but multiple streamers, which is awesome. I was told how they can do that and why they're able to do that. And that blew my mind, because it's not some illegitimate way. It's not some illegal way or anything like that, but their current situation in life allows them to do this. So what that did for me was put into perspective that, yes, there are times where people seem to be doing things, in, like I said, a funny way. But then there are also those people that will give as much support as they want to because they can. And they do so because they enjoy the content. They are connected to that streamer. They want to support them to continue on their dreams, all that kind of stuff. And they just truly want to see people succeed. But at the end of the day, after seeing a few tweets lately of like, credit card fraud person, so someone's gotten 1,200 subs and they're absolutely, ecstatic about it. They're finding that piece of success that they maybe haven't found recently, and only for it to be taken away from them because it was someone using fraud. Weird. Like, I feel horrible for that streamer. But at the end of the day, there are those people out there on the internet that will do weird things like that. And that means streamers might also set themselves up in some sort of way with other people to make those things happen for their stream, just to bring the hype, the attention, and all that kind of stuff, to bring other people, actual users, actual people that are just gifting out of their own heart and out of their own pockets to contribute. And then they benefit from that as well. Kind of some rambled thoughts today, but that's where my brain's been at lately. So hopefully it kind of makes sense. But at the end of the day, just don't compare yourself because of sub count. Focus on yourself, focus on your content, get better at something every single day. Make your bed when you wake up, brush your teeth. You'll feel like you've already accomplished something. So then the rest of the day, you've already accomplished something. So it can only go up from there. And don't forget to eat some burritos, all right? We'll see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully this all made sense. Thank you so much for listening on Apple. Thank you so much for listening on Spotify, for downloading the podcast. And for those watching on YouTube, you could also just be listening, but, hopefully you're looking at my mustache right now. Cheers.